Friedrich Nietzsche was not merely a philosopher. He was a storm in human form. A man who dared to tear down the foundations of morality, of religion, of truth itself, and ask us what remains when everything sacred has been destroyed. His words cut like a knife. His ideas do not comfort. They wound, they disturb, they haunt. And yet, that is why they endure. Because Nietzsche did not want to soothe humanity. He wanted to awaken it. To force us to look at the abyss, and then to demand, will you fall into it, or will you learn to walk above it? He is called dangerous, and rightly so. Dangerous because his philosophy is not meant for the weak. It is not meant for those who cling to illusions. It is meant for those who dare to face reality stripped bare. A reality without gods, without safety nets, without guarantees of meaning. Imagine living in a world where every value you were taught is revealed to be a lie, where the voice of morality is nothing but the echo of fear, where the rules that tell you what is good, what is evil, are exposed as chains forged to enslave the strong by the weak. That is Nietzsche's world. And once you step inside it, you can never return unchanged. Nietzsche declared that God is dead. Those words are still whispered with fear, with misunderstanding. He did not mean that a divine being was murdered. He meant something deeper. He meant that humanity itself had killed its God, not with swords, but with knowledge, with science, with reason, with progress. We unmasked religion, stripped it of its authority, and left the heavens empty. But Nietzsche asked, what now? If God is dead, who decides what is true, what is good, what has value? Without a higher power to guide us, are we not abandoned, lost in a meaningless void? Nietzsche saw this coming. He saw that the death of God was not a victory, but a catastrophe. Because when faith dies, certainty dies with it. And most people cannot endure that. They collapse. They sink into nihilism. The belief that nothing matters, that life is nothing but dust and decay. But Nietzsche did not want us to drown in nihilism. He wanted us to face it, to pass through it, to become strong enough to create new meaning, instead of begging for it. This is the dangerous task he sets before us, to stand alone in a silent universe, and yet to say, yes, to life. To embrace existence not because it is comfortable, but because it is raw, brutal, and real. Nietzsche challenges us to become creators of values, to become, in his words, the Übermensch, the overman. Not a superhuman with muscles and power, but a higher being who does not wait for morality to be given, but forges his own. Someone who can live without illusions and still affirm life with courage. Think of your own life. How many of your beliefs are truly yours? How many are borrowed from society, from religion, from parents, from culture? Nietzsche warns us that most people live as slaves to herd morality. They believe what others believe. They fear what others fear. They obey rules written by those long dead. This herd instinct keeps us safe, but it also keeps us small. Nietzsche's dangerous philosophy is a hammer striking those chains. He calls us to question everything, to break free even if it means loneliness, to reject comfort if it means discovering truth. He asks, would you rather be a comfortable slave or a free creator? And yet freedom is not easy. Nietzsche says that freedom means responsibility. It means you no longer have anyone to blame. No God, no society, no fate, only yourself. That is terrifying. Imagine waking up tomorrow with no commandments, no sacred rules. Everything is permitted. What would you do? Most people would collapse under the weight of that freedom. They would search desperately for someone to tell them what is right. That is why Nietzsche is dangerous, because he gives you no easy answers. He throws you into the storm and demands that you learn to walk through it. Nietzsche loved to use metaphors, and one of his most haunting is the abyss. If you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. What does this mean? It means that when you confront the darkness of existence, the darkness confronts you back. When you stare too deeply into meaninglessness, you risk becoming consumed by it. You risk becoming empty yourself. Many thinkers avoided the abyss. Nietzsche demanded we stare into it, but not surrender to it. He wanted us to wrestle with despair and emerge stronger. To look at nothingness and say, I will create something out of it. That is the essence of his philosophy. Creation born from destruction, strength born from suffering. Nietzsche's words are dangerous because they ignite rebellion inside the soul. He tells you not to obey, not to submit, not even to truth, unless you have tested it and found it worthy. He writes, "Become who you are," a simple phrase, yet almost impossible to live. Because to become who you are, you must strip away every false identity, every mask you wear to please others. You must kill the comfort of conformity. You must endure the loneliness of authenticity. And only then can you begin to shape yourself as an artist shapes a sculpture. Painfully, relentlessly, until you are something more than just another copy of the herd. But what does this look like in practice? Nietzsche gives us a terrifying but beautiful challenge called eternal recurrence. Imagine that everything in your life, every joy, every mistake, every pain, must be lived again, not once, but infinitely, over and over, for eternity. Would you curse such a fate, or would you embrace it? Nietzsche says that the true strength of spirit is to say, yes. To live in such a way that you would gladly relive your life eternally, because you have lived with courage, with creation, with intensity. Eternal recurrence is a test, a mirror. It asks, are you living in a way that you would want to repeat forever, or are you wasting your existence in fear and hesitation? This is why Nietzsche is dangerous, because he forces us to confront questions that most would rather avoid. He tears away illusions. He destroys comfort. He leaves you standing naked before reality. But in that terrifying nakedness, there is also liberation, because once everything false has been burned away, what remains is power. The power to live authentically, to live fully, to live dangerously. Nietzsche tells us the secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously, not recklessly, but with the courage to risk, to create, to say yes even when life is harsh. His philosophy is not safe, it is not gentle. It is a fire that can consume, but for those who endure it, it can also illuminate. It can give you the strength to rise above mediocrity, to rise above despair, to rise above the herd. Nietzsche's philosophy whispers to you in the darkness, do not ask for meaning. Create it. Do not wait for truth. Forge it. Do not beg for life to be easy. Demand that you become strong. And in that whisper, there is both danger and salvation. To understand Nietzsche is to stand at the edge of a cliff and feel the wind of eternity on your face. He asks you, will you leap into the unknown, or will you crawl back to the safety of the herd? Most people crawl back. They need the comfort of rules, of ready-made truths, of someone telling them what to do. But Nietzsche's vision of the human being is not that of a sheep grazing peacefully in the field. It is that of a lion breaking its chains, roaring into the void, declaring, "I will create my own law." He describes the journey of the human spirit in three transformations: the camel, the lion, and the child. The camel carries the burdens of morality, duty, tradition. It kneels, obedient, weighed down by "thou shalt." But one day, the camel transforms into the lion. The lion is rebellion. It rejects commands. It says no to every chain, every authority, every master. Yet even the lion is not the final form, because destruction alone is not enough. The lion must become the child, the creator, the innocent, the player. The child says, "Yes." The child invents new worlds, new values, new games. This is Nietzsche's vision of transformation. First we carry, then we rebel, and then, if we are strong enough, we create. But creation is costly. Creation requires suffering. Nietzsche knew this deeply. His entire life was marked by pain, physical illness, loneliness, exile, madness. And yet he turned that suffering into philosophy. He believed that greatness is born not in comfort, but in struggle. He wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. That chaos is the abyss, the uncertainty, the pain, the doubt. But if you can endure it, if you can use it, then from that darkness something luminous can be born. Your own star, your own light. Do you feel the weight of your own chaos? The nights when you wonder why you are alive. The days when you feel lost, without direction. Nietzsche tells you not to escape that chaos, but to embrace it, to shape it, to turn your suffering into strength, to make your wounds into weapons. He believed that suffering was not the enemy of life, but the crucible of greatness. That without difficulty, without pain, we remain small, weak, untested. It is only through trial that we discover who we truly are. This is why Nietzsche despised comfort culture, despised mediocrity, despised the herd that flees from struggle. He believed that the world was heading toward a sickness of spirit, a culture of weakness, where people no longer wanted to be strong, but only safe. He saw the rise of what he called the last man. The last man is the ultimate product of a comfortable society. He seeks only security, entertainment, small pleasures. He avoids pain at all costs. He does not create, he does not strive, he does not dream. He simply consumes. The last man blinks, yawns, and says, "We have invented happiness." Nietzsche hated this vision, because the last man is the death of greatness, the death of danger, the death of the human spirit. He wanted us to be the opposite of the last man, to live dangerously, to embrace risk, to demand more from existence than just survival. He saw that the modern world would give us endless distractions, endless comforts, endless escapes. And he asked, will you be lulled into sleep, or will you awaken? Will you be the last man, or the creator of something greater? This question is more urgent today than ever, because we are drowning in comfort, drowning in triviality. We scroll, we consume, we distract ourselves while life itself slips through our fingers. Nietzsche calls to us from the past, do not waste your life. Do not trade your soul for comfort. Rise, create, dare. But here lies the danger, because Nietzsche's philosophy can shatter those who are not ready. To destroy illusions is easy. To live without them is hard. Many who read Nietzsche fall into despair. They see the abyss, and they fall into nihilism. They take "God is dead" to mean nothing matters. They lose all anchor, all purpose, all hope. Nietzsche feared this. He knew his words could be poison to the weak. But for the strong, for those who could endure the fire, his words could be medicine, because once you accept that nothing is given, nothing is guaranteed, nothing is sacred, then everything becomes possible. You are free to create, to shape, to invent. Life becomes your canvas, your sculpture, your battlefield. Nietzsche tells us that each of us must become an artist of existence, not in the sense of painting or music, but in the sense of shaping a life that is uniquely ours. He does not ask us to follow his path. He asks us to find our own, to carve it, even if it means carving against the grain of society, against the expectations of family, against the commands of tradition. He knew this would be lonely. He knew it would be painful. But he also knew it was the only path to greatness. There is a line from him that pierces the soul. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. This is the loneliness of the Creator. When you rise above the herd will hate you, misunderstand you, mock you. They will call you arrogant, mad, dangerous. Nietzsche himself lived this. His books were ignored, ridiculed, condemned. He died misunderstood, broken. And yet his ideas survived. They spread like wildfire after his death. They shook the 20th century. They influenced art, literature, psychology, politics. Because even though Nietzsche died in silence, his roar continued to echo. What does this mean for you? It means that if you dare to rise, you must accept loneliness. You must accept misunderstanding. You must accept being called dangerous. But remember, it is better to be dangerous and alive than safe and dead inside. Nietzsche's philosophy is not about being comfortable. It is about being alive. Intensely, fiercely alive. It is about burning with such intensity that even if your life is short, it is unforgettable. He warns us that time is short, that eternity is not waiting for us in some heavenly paradise. Eternity is here, now, in every moment. And if you waste it, if you live as the last man, you will have betrayed the gift of existence. Nietzsche does not give us heaven. He does not give us salvation. He gives us something harsher, but more real. The challenge to make this life worth living, not by following orders, not by obeying rules, but by creating, by daring, by becoming. So ask yourself, what chains are still binding you? What illusions are you still clinging to? What lies have you accepted because they make you feel safe? Nietzsche tells you to take up the hammer, to shatter those chains, to live without the crutch of certainty, to face the terror of freedom, because only when you stand naked before the abyss can you begin to shape yourself into something greater. And that is why Nietzsche is dangerous, because he strips away everything false, leaving only you and the abyss and the terrifying possibility of creation. But perhaps the most terrifying and the most liberating part of Nietzsche's philosophy is this: there are no guarantees. No promise that your struggle will succeed. No certainty that your creation will be recognized. No assurance that your life will matter to anyone but you. And yet, he demands that you live as though it matters infinitely. that you give everything to your existence, even knowing that the universe may give you nothing in return. This is the highest form of courage. To live without reward. To live without certainty. To live as if every moment is both meaningless and infinitely sacred, simply because it is yours. Nietzsche teaches us that life is not a problem to be solved, but a force to be embraced. It is not a riddle waiting for the correct answer. It is a storm, and you must learn to dance in it. When he says, "Become who you are," he is telling us that identity is not found, it is forged. It is not hidden inside you like a secret treasure. It is built, moment by moment, choice by choice, struggle by struggle. You are not born complete. You are born unfinished. And your task is to carve yourself into something worthy of existence. How do we do this? By living dangerously. By refusing to hide behind excuses. By refusing to wait for perfect conditions. By refusing to let fear dictate our path. Danger, in Nietzsche's world, is not recklessness. It is authenticity. It is the risk of living fully in a world that rewards conformity. To be dangerous is to be free. To be dangerous is to be unafraid of judgment, unafraid of failure, unafraid of the abyss. And yet, Nietzsche reminds us this is not a path for all. It is not even a path for most. Many will never dare. Many will prefer the herd. Many will prefer illusions. That is why Nietzsche's philosophy has always been feared, censored, distorted, because it calls for a strength of spirit that is rare, and it threatens those who cling to control. A free individual is dangerous. A creator of values is uncontrollable. Nietzsche's words ignite rebellion, not just against society, but against every falsehood within yourself. He asks us, will you be content with the comfort of mediocrity, or will you risk everything to carve meaning out of chaos? This is not a question to answer lightly, because to say yes to Nietzsche's challenge means to embrace a lifetime of struggle, a lifetime of solitude, a lifetime of questioning, but it also means to embrace a life of intensity, of creation, of power. A life that, even in its pain, is more alive than any safe existence could ever be. Nietzsche himself paid the price. His mind collapsed under the weight of his own intensity. He spent his final years in madness, broken body with a soul that had burned too brightly. And yet even in that tragic end, there is a lesson. To live fully is to risk breaking. To burn with fire is to risk being consumed. But is it not better to burn than to fade into nothing? Nietzsche's life asks us, is safety worth the death of your spirit? Or will you embrace danger, knowing it might destroy you, but also knowing it is the only way to truly live? This is why Nietzsche's philosophy is called dangerous, because it demands transformation. It demands that you stop hiding. It demands that you stop blaming. It demands that you stop waiting. It demands that you become the artist of your own soul. And it warns you if you refuse, if you remain comfortable, if you choose the path of the last man, then your life will not truly be lived. It will be wasted. A spark that never became a flame. The choice is always before you. The abyss is always waiting, and Nietzsche whispers, step closer. Do not fear. Stare into the darkness until it stares back. Let it challenge you. Let it terrify you. And then, when you are ready, create. Because in the end, the most dangerous idea of Nietzsche is also the most empowering, that no one will save you. Not God, not society, not fate. Only you. And in that terrifying solitude, You discover the raw truth. You are free. Free to fail, free to suffer, free to rise, free to become. So ask yourself now, as you listen to these words, are you ready to live dangerously? Are you ready to let go of illusions? Are you ready to forge meaning in a meaningless universe? If you are, then Nietzsche's philosophy is not poison. It is fire. And if you carry it carefully, if you let it burn but not consume, it can light your path through the darkest night. And if you are not ready, if you are afraid, if you cling to comfort, then his words will destroy you. They will tear away your illusions and leave you hollow, because Nietzsche's philosophy does not allow neutrality. It is a sword. It either cuts you down or it sharpens you into something greater. The danger is real, but so is the possibility of transformation. Remember, this suffering will come, whether you choose it or not. Struggle will come, whether you prepare or not. The abyss will come, whether you stare into it or not. Nietzsche simply tells us embrace it willingly. Say yes to it. Shape it. Make it yours. That is the path of the creator. That is the path of the dangerous philosopher. That is the path of becoming who you are. And so we end where we began, with a man who dared to tear down the world of illusions, and in the ruins demanded that we build something greater. Nietzsche's philosophy is dangerous because it is not for spectators. It is for warriors of the spirit, for those willing to bleed for meaning, for those willing to risk madness for truth, for those who would rather burn brightly for a short time than live a long life in the shadows of safety. He leaves us with a question that echoes across time, across silence, across the abyss itself. Will you rise, or will you remain asleep? The answer is yours. It has always been yours, and it will cost you everything. Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." If this made you think deeply, make sure you like this video, share it, and subscribe for more.